So the enemy comes to them. Basically, they want the main character's kingdom to become their kingdom or part of their kingdom, or at least want certain things if they want this war to end. I am not sure what it is. Is they going to end up becoming one with this Yemeni's country, or is it typically the Yemeni just wants these certain things? I am not sure if they don't want war to continue on or want another war kind of situation. I'm not sure which one it is because, again, I'm kind of confused because I'm not that smart. We all know this. When it comes to war and politics, I am not smart. But yes, the country wants a certain amount of stuff right now and here. Second thing they want to be gifted money once a year, a certain amount of money once a year. Another one is they want to have one of the princes sent to the enemy to be a hostage. But yeah, there are several things they want. If they want the war to end or the war, it's confusing. I'm not sure. But again, no one is agreeing to this because it is crazy the stuff these guys want. No surprise, because a decision was not made right away and they didn't agree right away. The enemy country's like, okay, we're gonna have your guys' heads. So it's a bloody war. Like, the main character had gone to bed only to be woken up and told that he needs to run for it, that he needs to get to safety. And so the main character tries to escape. He's trying to technically search for the third prince and get to the third prince and get the third prince to safety because he wants to be by the third prince's side. And he runs into one of the soldiers who tells the main character where to go, where it will be safe. And the main character's like, okay, but I need to get to the third prince. And they're like, no, you're gonna get to where it's safe. Go, go. And so the main character tries going to the location he was told to go, where he will be safe, where he will be taken to safety. Except he's seen that there is the enemy and tries running away. Only he is caught. He is literally caught trying to escape. The main character, he wakes up and his situation is horrible. He sees other people in prison and tied up and caged just like him. They're peed on, they're beaten. Like, the main character literally uses himself as a shield to protect a child that's caged with him, which leads him to be beaten more because he tries protecting this child. The third prince is there too. The third prince was also captured, and the third prince is upset that the main character got captured because the main character's escape route was set up by him so the main character could be able to escape. Like I said, he's acting like the main character's protective husband. He very much cares for him, and it's pretty obvious the third prince is in love with him. And the main character's like, well, I wouldn't be here if that escape route was available, which shocks the third prince. So he brings up the military force that was supposed to be over there, and the main character's like, well, I saw it, but when I saw that they were being attacked, I went the other direction. Like, it was bad because these dudes were doing their best to protect against the enemy, which makes the third prince realize his brother and father are most likely dead. Either captured and not in the same area as them, or dead. There are hopes that these two would be able to save them later in the line when they were able to escape is now out the window. This seems like the enemy's planning to drag them somewhere, and I'm not sure what the location is. Or I misread the situation and they were able to escape and are running for it, and they were able to get information, and now that leaves them depressed. Or they're, being dragged off somewhere by the enemy. I'm not sure because I was a little confused about this part. Because they went from being caged to moving. And my mind is a little confused by that. There was an idea that there were spies. So when the main character and the male lead had first arrived to the capital, the male lead was being questioned, not just because of what his identity was because they would believe that there were barbarian spies roaming about in the capital. And the male lead, obviously, because of who his people are, they assumed the male lead could possibly be a spy. That's why they got very hysterical and very upset at the time. And the main character and the male lead had to prove the male lead's innocence kind of situation. And the spy hole situation is not brought back up until the enemy was knocking on the doors, the first wall. And the main character realized, oh, there's obviously a spy somewhere because the civilians were starting to go against the soldiers. And we're kind of siding with the enemy, and the main character realized who one of the spies was, and went, don't listen to that man, and basically uses his authority to get the civilians and the people back on their kingdom's side at the time. While everyone's in prison, people realize no one can see where the Chancellor's son is, even though he has a nice cushioning position himself. No one sees him. No one knows where he is. He was supposed to be somewhere, and now he's not. And he's not with everybody else who has been captured. So this starts making everybody assume the main character is the only person, vouching for the Chancellor's son, is that the Chancellor's son is probably a traitor and has backstabbed them all and is working with the enemy. And the main character's like, it can't be him. He's not the one doing this. I promise. And I'm like, honey, do you have any proof at the time? Where is he? He always seemed to care about who he can get the most out of. He most likely would definitely betray you guys. He most likely will. And that's where book 2 ends at, with the main character captured with the third prince and several of their people. The male lead missing. Yes, when the male lead went to come to the main character, he disappeared. No one knows where he is because, again, he left their home to come to the main character, and that's one reason why the main character stayed at the capital, was to wait for the male lead. But the male lead never showed up, and the main character was worried for him this entire time, and the male lead is not to be seen. That's how book 2 ends, is we don't know where he is, and the main character captured. And so, yeah, I know for sure now that this is not the last book of the series, because, again, when I said in that video when I was talking about this and the other series created by the publishing house, being translated by that publishing house, I wasn't actually sure if this was the last book or not, and now I know for sure. I even double-checked on Novel Updates, and Novel Updates states the series has 70-something chapters with 8 extras. So, yes, this is not the end of it. Which is good, because I would not be very happy with this ending. I'm just saying. The main character's servants that he sent back home were captured too. So when they tried traveling back home, they were caught and sent back to the capital. And during that period of time, somehow they end up being captured, just like how the main character was. Yet during that entire time, the main character did not know his servants were sent back. So I'm a little suspicious about that. Like, I'm eyeing them, but at the same time, I know they're probably innocent. If you love poems, I'm just telling you here and now, you need to get this series, because at the start of every arc, we only have had 3 arcs, there is a poem. So if you enjoy poems, there are poems for you to read throughout this book series. I had to look it up on Novel Updates when I was reading book 1, that the male lead was the male lead. And if you were reading book 2, you would have to definitely look it up on Novel Updates to confirm the male lead was the male lead, because the third prince is giving second male lead syndrome. He's giving male lead vibes, and it's causing me issues and problems. Okay, it's giving me problems, because again, I looked it up when the third prince and the main character was doing their mouth-to-mouth situation to trying to feed the third prince, so I was starting to think maybe the third prince was actually the male lead, and I mistook. Yes, the main character slept with the male lead does not mean the male lead could be the main love interest. I've read several stories. Just because someone sleeps with someone does not make that person the main love interest. And yes, the main character's had relationships with him for 3 years does not make him the possible male lead. And yes, the main character is very loyal to him, especially with the scene where the main character ran away from the third prince's confession. Does not mean anything. The Arthur could go and kill off the male lead, but no, the male lead is the male lead, and I love the fact the male lead is the male lead because he's amazing. But at the same time, the third prince is also amazing. The main character has 2 hands. I'm just saying, he has 2 hands.